Hey guys, welcome back to Andy's Dinosaur Reviews, and do we ever have something epic to take a look at today? This is my very first chance, my pleasure, to take a look at a Greenhouse Revolution Studios model, as we have their 1/35th scale Saurophaganax, and man does this thing ever look awesome. I am honestly aching to get some paintwork on this because it's one of the nicest sculpted dinosaur models that I have ever seen, and the actual fine detail, I'm very excited to show it to you guys because the fine detail on this is out of this world. I am so hyped to have this here. But on top of the model itself, we also have a few extras in here, one of which you can see is the card. Now, I obviously have an unpainted version of this, so I'm going to be painting it up. There are painted versions of this that you can purchase as well, but you can see as far as the limited edition number of mine goes, this is 28 of 30 for the unpainted version, and you can see one of the paint schemes. There's also a really cool green paint scheme that they released, and there's nothing really going on here on the back, just the Greenhouse Revolution logo right there. But on top of that, you've also got two cards in here. Now, unfortunately, I can't read the cards, but you can see that I think what they're basically doing is telling us some of the reasons why they've given the model certain aspects and how they kind of correlate with modern day animals and stuff, and you can kind of see that here on the back as well. And this is again one of the two different paint variants that they have out. You can see more of this here on the second card, and again, of course, the same deal here. Once we turn it around, you can see even more of it here on the back. So it looks extremely cool from these cards here, but of course the model itself, as you can see right here in front of us, is as stellar as it gets. So, without further ado, let's jump to a closer look at it right now. So, starting up here at the head sculpt of our Saurophaganax, straight away you're going to see some seams because I have only put it together. I haven't sealed any of the seams or any of that stuff quite yet, so the seams are going to be pretty obvious at this point. But you can see when we get nice and close, look at how amazing the skin texture is on this dinosaur model. Wow, is that ever impressive. You can see all sorts of variation to the different types of skin tone. Like you can see larger scales up here in the snout, kind of like some smaller osteoderms or scutes down here in the lower part of the upper jaw. And you can also see finer skin texture as you lead up into the eye socket, the palate, and everything. It looks very impressive. We've got the nostrils sculpted out here, as well as the ear, and leading down here again, same type of very nice skin texture. Again, some scales here and there that you can see popping up, but then also some finer skin texture as you move through. We can very clearly see our Saurophaganax has its mouth in a very wide open position, letting out some form of a vocalization, I would imagine. The detailing on the inside of the mouth is just, well, if my camera would focus on it, just as impressive as you see elsewhere. Look at that. That is gorgeous fine detail. The tongue as well. I really like the way the tongue's kind of extended up here on the inside of the mouth. That also looks really cool. And the teeth all look very nice. You can see all the teeth have a genuine sharp look to them. They're also sculpted individually, each and every one. So again, about as high quality of a sculpt as you are ever going to find. And you can also see the opposing side of the head also looks extremely impressive. Moving back here into the neck, look at all the impressive skin detail back here. Again, the actual skin creases and stuff with the turn in the neck. It's so impressive how nice and realistic it looks as you move back here into the neck region. And you can obviously see we've got a nice right turn to the head and neck of our dinosaur, which is really causing the skin to wrinkle up quite nicely right there. You can see the same thing happening down here in the throat region as you move along. Again, all of the creases there showing that turn in the neck, but you can also see some very nice tensing in the neck as well, of course, with the positioning of the mouth and everything and the roar that it's letting out. You can see how it's kind of tensing up the neck. You can see the spinal column as well there moving along the back of the dinosaur. Leading down here into the body a little further, we lead down into the arms. You can see the arms, both arms are held into the body in a very nice naturalistic positioning. You can see the muscle definition. It's defined without being overly defined, and That is definitely a very nice thing as well. You can see the elbow back here, some nice scoots running down the fingers of the Saurophaganax, as well as the nails. The nails have a very nice sculpt, and again, a genuine sharp look to them, just like the teeth did. You can see both hands have different positioning for the fingers, which is a nice touch because I think that just adds a little extra life to the dinosaur. You know, I really love when companies like this go the extra mile to give you more realism in the sculpt. But just by having different positions on the fingers, I think just adds so much as far as that realism aspect goes. And then as you move back a little further, you can see the rib cage ever so slightly showing right there. You can also see the shoulder blade slightly right there. But again, the skin texture is phenomenal, especially as you lead down here into the lower part of the stomach, where you can see the skin kind of stretching off of the stomach because of the positioning of the leg. You can just see how incredible that skin texture is. I don't know that I've ever seen more realistic looking skin texture on a dinosaur model. And then as you move back up here, you can continue to see how impressive it looks. We've got the very nice spinal column again moving along the back. You've also got the hip bone right there. And again, the muscle definition here in the thigh is there, but again, it's not overly defined. It's by no means shrink wrapped or anything, which is a nice touch. And you can see all the creases in the skin as you move down here through the course of the thigh. You've got the kneecap in the front of the leg, nice big bulging calf muscle right there. And then you lead down, you can see the foot sculpt looks excellent. You've got the toes kind of leaving the ground here as the Saurophaganax is walking along. The toenails as well have yet again that very nice genuine sharp look to them. And even the skin detail down here in the toes is extremely impressive. The way the skin creases, the way those scoots kind of bend as the toes are lifting up off of the ground. Just unbelievable detail on this. You can also see the dew claw over there on the opposing foot there. And as you move back up, you can again see more creasing and wrinkling and all sorts of skin detail here as we lead out from the thigh into the tail, even a little more tensing even out here into the tail. And as you lead out, you continue to have all of that same very impressive sculpt and detail with a really elegant curve to the tail. And you also pick up kind of like a scoot-like appearance here, almost like a slightly armored look to the end of the tail of the Saurophaganax. And if we get a little bit of a wider view, if my camera would focus on it, there we go, you can see how nice that curve is to the tail. It also kind of curves toward us. So if you look at it from up above, there, very impressive visual there of the curve in the tail. And then if we turn it around, again, the head sculpt is kind of facing away from us now, so the skin is a little bit more stretching. You can see a whole lot more when it comes to skin wrinkles and creases on the opposing side, whereas stretching more so over here, because again, it would be stretching the skin there away from us. You can still see that same style of tensing, though, to the neck as the dinosaur, again, is letting out its vocalization. And again, the arm down here is in a pretty similar position, almost in the exact same position, but the fingers are definitely placed differently and equally, again, as impressive when it comes to the fine detail. And then as we lead back here, you can see pretty much the same sort of visual of the stomach, because the leg here isn't so much further forward that it would create a very different pose or a different look to the stomach. And you can see the skin detail again, just as impressive as we saw on the first side. The skin's kind of scrunching up a little bit more so on here, more so than stretching like we saw on the other side, because the leg's kind of taking a step forward. But you can see the rib cage again a little bit right there, the hip bone again as we move back. As you lead down the course of this leg, though, you can see how this foot is planted, because the dinosaur is currently in the process of taking a step with that leg. They're kind of leaving the ground, and you can see how, again, impressive the foot sculpt is. Very nicely sculpted nails, nice scoots down the toes. You can see the toes themselves kind of like underneath the skin. It's just so unbelievably impressive. I can't even say that enough. And then as you lead out here into the tail, again, we've got that really nice curve as you lead out. You've also got really nice sculpt and detail here on the underside. You can see the cloaca as we move up. Again, look at the skin detail there when it comes to the leg and the way it's kind of stretching the skin right there. Absolutely some of the most impressive fine detail I have ever seen on a dinosaur model. And not only that, it's also one of the most crisp and cleanest resin models that I've ever had the pleasure of owning. Like, it looks so good here unpainted. Sometimes you'll get models that are resin models and there's like a little cleanup you need to do and stuff. Not at all when it comes to this. It is just as clean and pristine out of the box as it could possibly get. And then we've also got the base. Now the base, you can see, has a nice earthy area, kind of like a nice little bit of a rocky formation as we're moving through here. Very highly detailed as well. But one area that I really like about this is if we turn it over here, you can see a skull down here that has obviously been decaying down here for quite some time, or the body has decayed because now we're left with pretty much only the skull, and it's kind of beginning to get buried underneath some dirt and rocks and stuff. So that's a really cool touch. Definitely like that, and it's going to be a fun little addition to the base that I'm quite excited to paint out. But absolutely, again, as impressive as the dinosaur itself when it comes to the base. The base is super highly detailed and definitely helps with the overall visual of our Saurophaganax. So we are at the point now where I'm going to go ahead and throw some paint on this, and then we'll come back and check it out when it's finished. And then here is my finished and painted version, looking pretty cool. And I went a little bit flashier on the paint apps of this one than I normally do, but I was pretty happy with it. I actually like how it turned out. I definitely wanted a green color scheme with a nice patterning on it, and I feel like that's, you know, okay looking as far as what I've done here. But now that it's actually painted, you can really see, I think, how impressive the fine detail is. You can just see how nice it shines, especially there on the inside of the mouth. Again, it looks absolutely gorgeous everywhere, but specifically, of course, in the face. That is some of the most impressive fine detail that I have ever seen on a dinosaur figure, and it doesn't cease as you move through the course of the body. Again, it looks incredible everywhere you look, no matter what area. Like, look at the scoots running down the hand into the fingers. It's probably some of the most realistic fine detail I've ever seen. As you move through the body, again, like I said, it's just amazing everywhere when it comes to how nicely done the skin texture looks, how nicely portrayed the muscle definition is. Even the bends in the toes here are on another level of realism. And the nails, again, have that genuine sharp look to them. And again, same deal as you move through the course of the body. That really elegant curve to the tail also looks gorgeous. And hopefully my paintwork has done at least a decent job of bringing this figure to life. I was pretty happy with it. Again, I don't often paint such flashy colorations on my dinosaurs, but I thought that this paint scheme looked pretty decent overall. And, you know, as I was going with it, I was definitely happy with what I was seeing, so I just kept going with this kind of flashier paint scheme, and I think it turned out pretty nice. Definitely one of the flashier looking dinosaurs I've painted, but again, because it looks nice, probably mostly due to how impressive the sculpt is, because the sculpt is amazing. And the base is just as incredible. Again, once you get some paintwork on it, it really comes to life. You could see again that just like the dinosaur, the realism is off the charts. Even the skull down here just looks extremely cool on the base. Again, just looking like a really neat little addition you may miss if you don't even look for it, because it kind of blends in with the rocks and everything. And I tried to paint it in a way where it looks like it's obviously been there for a while. It's very weathered and is obviously slightly submerged in the dirt, so I wanted it to kind of look like that's what's going on with it. It's been there for a long time, and hopefully I achieved that as well. I did try to differentiate the color a little bit from the base and everything, but obviously again give it that weathered look. But overall, the base is absolutely gorgeous, just like the dinosaur is. So let's throw it on the base and check out the entire thing complete from there. And once you slide that peg down into the base, it stays on there perfectly and looks really good. Again, definitely completing the amazing scene of this gorgeous Saurophaganax walking along. Man, that's easily the nicest one that I have in my collection right now. As far as a size goes, lengthwise, you are looking at about 11¼ inches or around 28½ centimeters. And then for a height to the top of the head, just shy. Actually, no, if you go to the top of the crest, I would say at about 5¾ inches or a little under 15 centimeters for a size comparison. There is Mr. Papo T-Rex, the Attack Pack Colovosaurus, and Robert Muldoon, as well as the Collect Day human being in here. And you can see that this model absolutely has a very nice, very impressive size to it. It is by no means a small model. Definitely right there, honestly, I would say in the size range you would expect for the species, maybe even a little bit larger. Now, when it comes to this species specifically, the Saurophaganax, I really don't have very many models of it. There haven't been all that many that have been released so far. But one of the more popular versions that are out there would be the Rebor one, which you can see here next to our Greenhouse Revolution Studios version. And you can see, obviously, the Rebor version is quite a bit larger, quite a bit stockier, and just built totally different than our Greenhouse Revolution version. But if you take a species like Allosaurus and bring it in here, we've got the Mojo Fun version next to the Greenhouse Revolution version, obviously quite a bit smaller. The same can be said for the Howalong Good version of the Allosaurus as well, again quite a bit smaller than our Greenhouse Revolution Saurophaganax. And for one final comparison, I would say when it comes to Allosaur, Saurophaganax, similar species like that are out that are very similar in size to this one, I would say the W Dragon version of the Allosaurus is a pretty similar size to the Greenhouse Revolution Studios version that we have here. Obviously, it's a little bit smaller, but not too far off. So this Greenhouse Revolution Studios Saurophaganax is incredible, and man, what an introduction to this company. I couldn't have asked for a better figure to be the first one that I acquire from them than this. The sculpt is absolutely phenomenal, and the fact that you can choose either the kit version or the painted version, and not only the painted version, but two different painted versions as you have two different paint schemes to choose from, you really can't ask for much more than that. When it comes to a Saurophaganax, I don't know that there is anything better than this out there on the market. I know PNSO has just recently released one. We'll have to check and see how that one is when we get it. But as of right now, especially when it comes to the ones that I have, this is easily the best version out there. The sculpt is incredible, showing off every ounce of movement in the most realistic way possible. It also has a really cool pose to it. I love that kind of scoot-like appearance as you move out into the tail. That's also a really nice touch. The mouth being very much so wide open and letting out a vocalization is also really cool, definitely giving it a nice dynamic appearance, and obviously the type of visual that is going to draw the attention of anyone that sees it. The base as well is really well done, and the inclusion of that skull over on the side is just the nicest touch that you could add onto something like that. Just brilliance on the part of Greenhouse Revolution Studios. And of course, like I said, this is an unpainted version. This is my paint job on it. I don't know if it turned out great. Again, I can't really ever judge my own paint jobs for my own personal preference. I like it. I'm happy with it. You guys will have to let me know in the comments section if you like it as well. But again, if you don't want to paint your own, you have the opportunity to purchase a painted version with two different paint schemes, one kind of similar to this, which was sort of where I got the idea, or at least the inspiration for this one, but I changed it up a lot to make it more of my own personal touch. But again, no matter which way you go, this is an absolutely gorgeous release, and if you are a Saurophaganax fan or an Allosaurus fan, this is a must-have. So if you are interested in grabbing one of these for yourself, I will include a link in the description to where you can do that from Lana Time Shop. So make sure you check that link, go grab this unbelievable Greenhouse Revolution Studios Saurophaganax, and also like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you in the next review. Thanks for watching.